Yet. All right.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome back. Listen, I hope you all had a good colonizer.
Thanksgiving first, and then it was a Native American Day the next day.
That's not Thanksgiving, child. That's colonizer stuff. That's what
people are like making that day what they want it to be, right?
That's right. I hope you made it a great day where you were with your families and you loved on each other and you spent some time carefully. You social distance if you had to, and all that good stuff. So we're happy to be back. All right. So, we're doing our candidate series, and we're going to continue on with the candidates as they come to us and as we reach out to them. Today we have Senate seat District 33, I believe it is. Is that correct? Yep, Senate seat District 33. We have one of the candidates. We will have another candidate next week. But in the meantime, in between time, our platform is if you want to participate in the political process as a Black person, this is the show for you. We are on YouTube and Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'm gonna let my co-host talk a little bit and introduce our guest, and then we'll let the guest tell us who she is, what she's doing, everything. Because this is where the candidates get to shine. They're not in a forum responding like 2 minutes. We're not doing that. We're giving them their platform to talk about who they are. So, co-host.
Yes, how are y'all doing? Again, I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, holiday season, however you want to refer to it. You got to break bread with your colleagues and your family members and all of that. I was home with children for like a week. So yeah, I was like, I spent enough time with them during the pandemic. Like, why they gotta be home all week? Like, send them to school for 3 days. But no, they were home with me all week and then was mad they had to go back to school on Monday. So that's how my time was. But anyway, I'm glad to be back. And I'm talking about school, and we have school board member for District 5, Rosalind Osgood, and she's now a candidate for State Senate District 33, taking over the seat that was vacated by Perry Thurston because he ran for Elsie Hastenstein. He was trying to become a member of Congress. He was one of the District 20 candidates, and he had to vacate his seat in order for him to run in that race. And Dr. Osgood saw an opportunity for her to serve the community even more in a bigger way. And so she's making an effort to run for this seat. And so we're going to talk to her today and tell us what it is that she sees, what's her vision, we've known all of the tremendous things that she's already done on the school board. We want to see what she wants to do for the people of the district in Tallahassee, Florida, where all the laws are made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's where the laws are made.
So take it away, Dr. Osgood.
There you go.
Well, good evening to both of you, and thank you for this show, and thank you for all of the sacrifices you make to prepare for the show, that it is a relevant show, a very informative, unbiased, and a show that provides education to our community. And it is a show where Black women are leading. So I am very excited about that. I am Dr. Rosalind Osgood. I'm a native of Broward County, born and raised here, graduate of Fort Lauderdale High School, proud Flying L. I still work, live, and play in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. And I've served this community in many capacities. I've been serving and feeding the homeless before I was a school board member. I work as the CEO of the Mount Olive Development Corporation, where we care for a particular classes of individual in our community who need our love and support. And we care for those that are being released from prison, those that are HIV positive. Those, we kind of pride ourselves here on that. We like to work with the people that nobody else wants to work to. So the street crew, the homeless people under the tree, those are the people that I get the honor and pleasure of working with in this community every day. 9 years ago, I decided to run for school board as a parent of 3 kids that I had to take out of the public school system because my sons were being targeted. I was afraid that they were going to be arrested. And I was trying to protect them from the system. But I always promised them and myself that once I got them through college, I would become a part of the solution and not the problem. A lot of times we identify problems in our communities and we wait for other people to fix them. As a person with a background in public administration, I have a master's and a doctorate in public administration, was fortunate enough to teach as an adjunct in the Master's of Public Administration program at Nova for about 8 years before getting on the school board, teaching leadership, strategic planning, and public policy evaluation. So, as you know, public administration is a field of ambiguity. You have government, education, law enforcement, county government, nonprofit, and everybody kind of solves the world's problems on their own. And I found the school board to be a place to bring everybody together, to work together collectively for the public good. So let me just get right to it. Many are saying, why are you leaving the school board? It was a really, really
We didn't even have to ask. We didn't even have to ask.
Time I'm in the community, the grocery stores, at different events. It was a really, really hard decision for me. I love the work I do on the school board. I love all the amazing, wonderful children that I'm able to interact with, the staff people that I meet. But as a public servant, you don't serve where it's comfortable, where you can be complacent, where you know how, the process works. You serve as the community needs you. And we had a lot of community leaders of all who I have much respect had this once in a lifetime opportunity to run for Congress, and they decided to do so. And in doing so, it made several seats open. I was never interested in going to the House because I feel you work too hard to only be able to file 6 bills. And after being in the middle of the whole mask mandate battle, constantly being bullied and harassed just to try to protect the lives of people, seeing the hostile environment in Tallahassee toward education, voter suppression, I could just go on and on. The lack of willingness to address gun laws that protect kids from having access to guns. I thought that I would take a new leadership challenge to serve my community in a greater way by going to the state. A lot of things that happen in the school district and municipalities on the county level are laws that are put in place on the state level. And then we come to the local level and we have to implement policies to carry out those laws. Tallahassee has seemed to lose all sense of local control. As a local school board member, we had, as local school board members, we had to go to court to do the job that the people elected us to do, and that is to make policies to protect students and staff in local school districts. So I figured I would take my advocacy to Tallahassee and be a champion for the people of Broward County. Really focusing on, first off is mental health and mental health for young people. We have a lot of mental health laws in place where if you need to get help for someone who's not willing to get it, and they're not showing some type of violent outbreak, you can't get the help. You can't Baker Act them. Sometimes people are delusional, they're off their medicine, and they're really struggling and they need an intervention other than being arrested or other than it being something confrontational. And if they are over 18, it's really hard for you to help them. So that's a law I would like to see changed. The whole issue of public schools, traditional public schools, and the funding for those schools. School monies continue to be taken away, even to the extent now that vouchers are going to private religious schools. And we know that the Religious Freedom Act doesn't allow government to fund religion. So I could just go on and on about the different things that I'm seeing. I want to go to Tallahassee and learn the process, be a bridge builder. I think that it's too much hostile. It's such a hostile environment where people of different parties don't even talk. And you can't get anything done in that way. Sometimes educating someone on the other side, giving them a different perspective, helps them to understand or have additional information to make a better decision.
That is, do you answer the questions that there's been done? And, people in the streets was like, why is she leaving? Ain't nobody there. There's nobody, what's going on? So, I'm glad you explained that, Dr. Osgood. The other questions that we got was, what is, if you're able to do that, or if you're part of that process, is the plan of succession after you leave the school board? Do you have a say in who gets appointed? Do you have any kind of leverage that you can say, hey, this person would be a great person to kind of take over for my district? Where are you with that is concerned?
So I will say to you, earlier I mentioned voter suppression. Mm-hmm. And I think that we had a drive-by done on us with Senate Bill 90, where it changed the vote by mail requirements, where you have to request your ballot every 2 years, all of these barriers about your signature. But there's also another part that the governor added to the bill that forces someone who wants to offer themselves for another opportunity in public service to resign irrevocably. So no matter whether you win or lose, you leave the seat. And then the governor appoints your replacement. It's another level of voter suppression. Instead of calling a special election and allowing the people in that community to vote and choose who's going to represent them, the governor appoints that person. So I have issued my letter to resign on March 8th. Win or lose, I will no longer be on the school board. The governor will appoint someone to the seat, and there seems to be an argument as to whether that person is appointed to the next general election, the next primary election, which will be in August, or if the governor can appoint that person for 3 years. There is lawyers that says the appointment can only be to the next primary election. As you saw the governor's announcement in the recent appointment of the 2 county commission seats, he said it was for 3 years. But these are the kinds of things that our community needs to be made aware of. Those little things that are tucked away in this legislation, where you get a bill and it has all kinds of other things attached to it. The school board went through the same thing with Senate House Bill 2076, or the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas bill, where it was this whole umbrella of school safety that said schools had to have an armed officer in every school. You have to do these behavior threat assessments. It came with a bunch of other avenues to it. And when you try to do it administratively, it's just a nightmare with all of the paperwork and the things that it requires to do. So right now, we have a legislative system with the majority that's in the majority of the party in Tallahassee that is literally weaponizing public policy. And as you amazing sisters know, that government is supposed to be for the people, by the people. But that's not what's happening now. We're seeing all kinds of horrific legislation come forth. Here we are again talking about Roe versus Wade. 2 weeks ago, I was in DC at the Poor People's March in front of the White House. And I remembered about 20 years ago, I was there marching for welfare reform, where they were taking single moms off of welfare and forcing them into low-paying jobs instead of putting them into work. And I said, wow, 20 years later, I'm marching for my voting rights. Just because I'm a Black woman, I have to march and demand my voting rights. These things have to change in this country, and we have to offer ourselves a public service so we can be at the table and we can galvanize the community and engage the community. You can't get anything done as a single individual, as an elected official. You need other votes for a majority vote, and you need to have the community engaged, advocating and standing up and rallying behind issues that are advantageous to our community.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for the people who don't know how this District 33 is, tell people what cities you're covering in District 33. And I'm not sure if the map has changed and your district has, grown or got smaller, but if you can kind of give people an idea of what your district you'll be covering, and then also tell us a little bit about what your vision is for the district and what are the people in the district needing in those communities that you're going to advocate for. Maybe your top 3. I think what Sandra, what do you normally ask for their top 3?
Well, so she's going to be able to present bills, unlimited number of bills. So we're going to just want to know like what her priorities are.
Yeah,
But you
okay.
asked like about 4 questions. So
That's
let's figure out.
let's just talk
So
about
answer the question about what cities your district
what
cover
cities
first,
your
and then
district.
we'll break the other ones down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, certainly. So this Senate district covers Fort Lauderhill, Margate, Pompano, Oakland Park, and Tamarack,
Hmm.
and in a small part of North Lauderdale.
Okay.
And this district kind of mirrors my school board district. It's about 80% of the school board district that I've represented for the last, well, when I first got elected, I had a different district and then we went through redistrict. So say for the last 6 or 7 years. So right now I'm running on the district as it is. The legislators are drawing or doing the redistricting process that will not be completed by the January 11th election. So the way that the governor has strategically weaponized this race is he called the race for a January 11th primary vote
Mhm.
in a March 8th general election vote, and the session ends on March 11th. So then whoever wins has to run again in August. And when they run again, they will probably be running with the new maps that they're drawing in Tallahassee for the district. What we do know is that the law requires that we have a minority access district. I think that we have to be very intentional about teaching our community about redistricting and the laws, because there are laws that prevent legislators that draw the congressional districts and state districts from gerrymandering, which means packing all African Americans into one district, or cracking us where they put such a small percentage of us into a district we have no effect. For example, when I first got elected to the school board, District 5 went from Davie Boulevard all the way up to Copens Road. It was literally a horseshoe of where all the Black people live. They had already started the redistricting process. My second or third workshop was a redistricting workshop that had drew me out of District 5 and put me into District 3. Well, as the conversation went on with the districts and to be compliant to the law, District 5 was changed from a north-south district that was a horseshoe of all the Black people to an east-west district where it goes from 7th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale to Pine Island Road. Most of the time, when people think about District 5, they don't think about the fact that it covers Sunrise and a portion of Tamarack all the way out to Wellesley, Piper High School. That's all a part of District 5. And it's interesting because, you know, in our communities, we oftentimes have chatter, and the chatter is without facts. So I was asked yesterday about redistricting and that I drew Pompano out of the district. Well, I don't have the authority to do that as a school board member. I'm not the person that's drawing the maps. And if you just sit back and think about the time we in, as an African American woman in District 5 with a horseshoe of African American people, a district maybe about 70 to 75% African American. Why would I change the district to make it where it's like 60% Black and 40% white? That certainly wouldn't be to my advantage or the advantage of people that look like me. So sometimes we have chatter that's going on that's not factual, and it's not able to be backed up and documented. And we as a people have to understand that whoever our representative is, no matter what ethnicity they is, no matter what the color of their skin, they have an obligation to represent us. Being the only African American school board members, I get a lot of calls from both people that don't look like me and people look like me. And the people that look like me, no matter what district they live in, when they start looking for help in the school board, they call me. And a lot of times my office respond, and we try to respond to help their representative represent them. When you vote for someone and they're representing your district, no matter what color their skin is, they have an obligation to represent you. So if we're going to talk about issues and we're going to move forward as a people, we have to make sure that we are sharing facts, that we're not just chattering nonsense. We saw how President Trump made such a fool of himself doing that. That kind of stuff is poison to our community. It's miseducation to our community. It lacks integrity, and it can just be downright disingenuous at sometimes.
All right. So I have some questions, okay? Because you said something, and I kind of want to go back to it, and you brought it up again. All right. And so one of the things you said is like you wanted to serve where you're needed, right? And then you also said you're the only African American woman that's on the school board presently, right? And I'm one of those people that believe that representation matters, right? I understand that you want to do like maybe some different kind of things, and that's why you're running for Senate District 33. We haven't talked about those things yet, but I wanted to address the fact like how do you answer like you leaving the school board with such a huge void? Right now, there's no African American on the school board. We don't know if one is going to get appointed. There's a whole lot of stuff that's happening right now. There's this misinformation about like critical race theories being taught in schools, and it's not. But we do need to do something about representing the history of African American people like properly in the school system. Like how do you explain like leaving such a huge void right in the school board and running for a separate seat when your thing is like you serve where it's needed? We believe that you're needed here. So how do you answer folks who are saying like, no, we need you on the school board? There's places where roofs are falling in, and there's money that should have been going to schools where it's predominantly students of color, and they don't get no money, but the people on the west side of town get all the money. So we need you there. How do you deal with that? How do you explain that?
Well, I've been there for 9 years, and a lot of the people are saying those kind of things are the people that refuse to take the facts and refuse to work with the only Black school board member. One of the other challenges I had is not only do you fight the system, but you fight a lot of the people in our community who refuse to do the facts. So let me deal with the East-West thing because we get that all the time. Prior to Mr. Runcie coming to the Broward County school system, you could clearly look at data and see that there was a huge disparity in the way that things were being done. When Mr. Runcie came, you had new board members that came to the board. They began to address those issues. You began to see the school board call out things like black male achievement. You began to see the school board work with the NAACP to create the Promise program because Broward County was arresting more kids in school than any other county. The school board put in a lot of magnet programs. So Broward County Public Schools is a county-wide school system. So many kids do not go to school in the neighborhood or the area that they live in. Being a county-wide school system, it allows us to use the monies to fund the schools from an equity perspective where you can put most of the money where the money is needed. So my biggest struggle with this whole phenomenon is before I came to the school board, District 5 had 12 FCUs that nobody was saying a thing about. One of the first challenges that I had was to convince the community that we had to do something and we had to change those schools and we had to do something different. So we put the first technical school in District 5. Before people in the area had to go to McStatter or they had to go to Coconut Creek to get job training. We changed Arthur Ashe Middle School to a technical center where people in the community can now go there and get those classes along with students that are doing dual enrollment. We changed Dillard High School to 6 through 12, where the middle school kids now have an opportunity to do various things like homecoming and those things before they get in high school. We added a high-performing high school at Lauderhill 6 through 12. The city of Lauderhill wanted a high school. We gave them that. That high school graduates 100% of its students every year, and all of the students there take AP and honor courses. So there had to be some drastic changes in what was happening at the schools, the programs, the resources, in order to turn those schools around first. So I've been on the school board for 9 years. I'm also a person that's a student of leadership. When you're a student of leadership, you look to grow as a leader. I recently, last year, got a public servant certification from Harvard Kennedy School because as a leader, I knew that I needed professional development. I needed to grow. And one of the projects that I did during that program was school climate change and how we have to address school climate in order to change schools. So as I was going through the mask mandate and I was really thinking I could just stay on the school board and be comfortable. But that's not what the community needs. With the board, with the House seat and the Senate seat, I felt that I was the best person to go to Tallahassee. Now, let me go back to say how we deal with the school board, even when I'm not in the seat. I don't know, I could be naive, but I trust this community. I've gotten emails and phone calls from parents about issues, parents that were holding me accountable. This community is a lot stronger than we give it credit for. As the elected official, I'm only as strong as the community make me. Just because I'm not on the school board does not mean that I'm not going to be paying attention and having demands for the school system. But in the state, I'll be able to work with laws. We're talking about critical race theory. Most people don't really know what it is. That's why they are afraid of it. They don't understand what it is. They don't know the value of teaching Black kids their history from 5,000 years ago instead of starting 2,000 years ago with slavery. They don't know how empowering it is for Black kids to understand that they came from a place where they were leaders, entrepreneurs, inventing arithmetic and on and on. I'm going to be that voice at the state that speaks to these issues to try to educate people that seem to be extremely have a lot of misunderstanding about those things. And just like I represented on the school board, now I have an opportunity to represent on the state level. It's not fair to a leader to be pigeonholed into a certain spot because other people in the community don't want to grow. There are about 7 or 8 people whose names I won't call who have been participating in the school board committees and processes. They have been learning. Some of them I have been personally grooming and talking to and working with. Because as a leader, I believe in building capacity. I believe in building sustainability. And I don't think that I know it all. That's what's going to be different from me and most people. You can serve in a leadership spot for a time period, and then you need to pass the baton so new ideas could come to the table. Now, if I had it my way, we have some fabulous young people that never really get a seat at the table with a lot of what's going on in politics. I've been intentional about grooming young people, other African American women, even a couple of people that don't look like me, because helping people understand the process, it puts them in a position to offer themselves for public service. We have way too many intelligent people that care about the community that won't run for public office, and that has to change.
Yeah, we agree with that because there's somebody in District 4 that's running unopposed, and we're trying to find somebody to run against her, like because we're not about that running unopposed life. Okay, so I'm sorry. So
We ain't about
we've been
that
talking about that.
at
But
all.
I got one more school board question, and then we could go on and talk about what you're gonna do in Senate District 20. So the superintendent. So you know. Mr. Runcie left in a way that I don't think that was the best way for him to have left. You know what I mean? For someone to have come in with all that experience, a brother come in, do all these great things. Because you mentioned some of the things that happened, doing with NAACP Promise Program, more additional magnet programs, did some black male achievement, all of that stuff. So it seemed as though at least his tenure here, he did some good stuff, even though some people may beg to differ, right? And then we have a person who applied for a job who they knew who when they applied for the job they know it was only supposed to be temporary, right? And I hear that they're trying to change this rule to allow this individual to reapply for this position. I personally don't think it's right because other folks would have probably applied for it too if they, because they wanted the real job and they didn't because they told like if you apply right now you can't get it. So can you speak on that and ask how this is even? Because I saw some of the meetings that they had on a Tuesday and they were changing contracts and terms and words and all that kind of stuff to make it okay for her to reapply. I don't like it. I know some other people that don't like it. Can you explain that for the people on how it is that's okay? Because I don't know if you're going to be dealing with that since you've resigned to run. So I don't know if you're going to be part of that process in selecting the next school board, superintendent of Broward County. But speak on that a little bit and explain this, make sense to us on how this is actually really about to happen.
So the process is set up where hopefully the next the new superintendent will be in position by February at the latest. A school board never gives up the right to direct appoint a leader. That's always going to be there. When we started going down the road with Mr. Runcey's transitioning, and we started looking for an interim superintendent, I did not want a process. I wanted to have someone, and it's just me personally, I'm just one school board member. I wanted to have someone from within be the interim superintendent so that we could immediately get a permanent superintendent. We went another direction. We went to look for a interim superintendent. We interviewed two candidates. Everybody really loved one of the candidates. On that day, I personally said, let's just make this person the permanent superintendent. People say, why would you say that? Here's why I would say that. I'm a student of leadership. We had Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in 2018 that changed the school board and the county forever. We have a lot of things that we're still responding to as it relates to that. We have issues with unemployment in the school district. There are a lot of problems organizationally as it relates to being able to focus on academics and move the school district forward. If you do not have a permanent leader, you cannot seriously address those things. There's about 6 or 7 high-level cabinet positions available. Nobody's going to come to a school district to work not knowing who the leader is going to be. They could sign a year contract, come to the district under interim superintendent. You get a new superintendent that comes in and fires and get rid of everybody as they've uprooted and moved their family there. So there was a board member that brought an item to make this particular superintendent the permanent superintendent. Okay. Through that process, and this was the person that board members really, really love, another thought came to give this person an opportunity to apply and not make them permanent because it was too soon. Now, if I put on my organizational behavior hat, I'm sitting on the dais. If you have 9 board members that vote for the interim superintendent that's there now not to become permanent, that person's takeaway is I'm in this job, I'm not supported, I'm not appreciated, and then you don't get the best.
I'm gonna ask you to. I'm gonna ask for a timeout. I'm sorry because we're starting. So my question starts at a different point. Like I understand the answer that you're giving, but you're starting off at the point where you guys had 2 people that you were interviewing, right? But what I'm saying is there were people who would have probably been better qualified than the 2 that y'all was left with that would have applied for the position, but didn't apply for it in the first place because they were told that if they were the interim, there was no chances of them becoming the permanent superintendent. So you already had like a pool of people that was like not necessarily the best candidates because the best candidates was going to wait until they could apply for the permanent job. That's the point that I'm talking about. That's the problem that I got with this. And since, like this person may be doing fine and all of that, but we don't know that they are the best candidate that's out there to be the superintendent for Broward County Public Schools because a lot of the very good and probably best candidates never applied because they were told if they applied now, they could not get the job permanently. That's the point I'm talking. I don't want to talk about when y'all got to those 2 because I don't think those 2 were the best 2 that Broward County could get to represent, all the 240,000 people that's part of this school district. So that's the point that I need us to get to. And since we know, like I'm very certain that the best people did not apply, there's no way that this woman should be able to get this, be able to get this job by default. Like to me, because of leadership and all of that, that don't make sense because those 2 that were there were not the best Broward County had to offer. And I stand on that. I don't think that was the best Broward County had to offer.
Well,
or the nation had to offer. Those 2 people that interviewed that day, they were not the best 2 people that could have been the superintendent for Broward County Public Schools. A lot of people did not apply because they were told if they applied now, they could not get the real job. That's the point I need us to talk about, not about the fact that y'all was stuck with these 2 that was shooting a shot and now they about to get the whole job for real. Yeah, that's
I didn't represent that we were stuck with them because it was a vote. And the board voted that whoever applied for the interim couldn't apply for the superintendent. That's the way the vote came out.
And that's how it should stay, because that you
now,
messed up the pool.
Now the board has voted to change that the person can apply for the position.
But the question is
absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so the question is, so from what I could ascertain, they changed the vote to let this person reapply because they like the person. I think that's why that vote was changed.
That's absolutely crazy.
If that's the case, I ain't with that either. I feel like people should have. She shouldn't even be part of the.
She agreed. Like now, she agreed that she was not going to have a permanent job when she took the temporary job. Okay, how we changing the rules like this?
If we're saying, and I don't know, I'm not in their head. If we're saying that the board liked that person, right? The board could have just direct appointed that person as the superintendent. So sometimes
they won't go do that because then they didn't know that. Then that's just absolutely biased.
Hold on a minute. Sometimes when you're looking at things, look at them from multiple lenses. If I love this person so much and I want right out of the gate, everybody was saying how much they love this person. I said, okay, let's direct appoint them. But nobody loved the person that much.
No, that would be political suicide if they did that. Come on now. No, that ain't even how you play that game. That's not even how the game is played.
They're not running. They're not running right now.
Half of them running. Half of them, their seats are up. Mm-hmm.
No,
1, 4, 1, 4, 8. Yeah, those and 3 or 2. One of them, they're all up.
But when you're an incumbent, okay, I would like to think, and I'm not in people's head. I'm not making a decision based on whether I'm running or not. I'm just going to speak for me. I'm making a decision from an organizational perspective and moving the organization forward. Okay,
that's not moving the organization forward to me.
If the board likes a person that much. Right now, next Tuesday, just like another board member brought that item to direct appoint that person, somebody can come Tuesday with an item if they like that person that much to make them the superintendent.
That's not moving the district forward because you did not get the best people to apply for the job in the first place. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to be honest with you, and we'll see how this play out. I don't think a whole bunch of people gonna be lining up to come work in Broward County Public.
A whole bunch of people will be lining up to come work in Broward County.
You have a leader, and a leader is ostracized, attacked, and literally arrested for doing the right thing. It makes you think real serious about going to work somewhere where you're gonna be treated like that. When you look at the district, you look at the positions that are open. This is not a place where people are running to work at. And I'm telling you very honestly and very transparent as being a person that's a board member. And I ask myself, why? And a lot of it is the way that things are done in the district. A lot of it is a lot of the stuff that comes through certain individuals in certain communities. So it's not a place that we got people just lining up to work at. Now, I do know that there are people, capable and qualified people, that have applied for the job, and the board will go through a process to select whoever they feel. The community will go through a process. They already start doing community interviews and surveys to select who they feel is the best person for the job. I think we had the best person for the job that was here for 9 years, and I get dinged all the time about being a champion for Mr. Runcie. But when I look at the results we got with Mr. Runcie, I think he did a good job.
And I agree with you. All right. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought all that heat, but I got a real problem with what's happening right now.
I'm in a place right now where I'm kind of contained with what I can say, but I can take the heat. I just for 4 or 5 months with my paycheck on the line to protect the people of Broward County. So I don't back away from the heat.
I'm telling you, because I'm just like, I don't like it. But all right, tell us. All right, so what is it that you did mention some of the things that you wanted to do because you had you gave an example of like a student in the school that's over the age of 18 and that you can't Baker Act them because they're adults. I have a daughter that's special needs that can stay in school until she's 22. She's not in a position to be able to make no decisions about her medical. So that something needs to happen, because how is it that you have a person that's special needs that does not have the intellectual ability of an adult but does have the age of an adult, and they're just because the numbers say they're 18 they get to decide what's best for their health, but they can't. How we fixing that?
So, I'm very hands-on in the community. I believe in being involved and engaged. So I deal with a lot of situations. The last 2 days, I've been personally dealing with 2 different individuals that clearly have mental health issues that need to be Baker Act. One of those persons is 37 and the other one is 32. When Henderson goes out to address their needs, the parents have called, they don't want to go. Okay. One of them is suffering from schizophrenia, so she switches to the other person and gets very proper and intelligent, and they feel that nothing is wrong. 5 minutes later, she's saying that she's a queen from another country, et cetera, et cetera. The law ties the hand of Henderson, and a lot of times the police officers that have been trained in mental health, if the person is not doing something violent, then they will say that they can't Baker Act them against their will. If I'm thinking I'm a person from another country that I'm not, it says that something is going on. I need to go where I can see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and at least get back on my meds. It's that one of these persons is off their meds, get back on my meds so that I could get stabilized and there could be a treatment plan. But the law does not allow them to Baker Act a person that don't want to go in that capacity. So that's one of the things that I'm certainly going to try to jump on when I get in Tallahassee, because I'm having lived experiences in my community. And as an African American community, we don't talk about mental health. We'll get cancer and we'll go get chemo and radiation for cancer. But when it comes to mental health, we lack the strong desire to treat mental health like we should. When we look at this increased social media threats to shoot up schools, to blow up schools, we can't continue to hide and say that our kids, people in our community are not suffering from mental illness. A lot of times it's hereditary, the depression. Sometimes women have babies, they have postpartum depression. So we have to break the stigma so that we can help people get the help that they need. And that means that we're going to have to change some laws that we're able to make decisions for them to get them the help that they need.
Yeah, that too. And then so my lawyer brain just kind of kicked in a little bit. And one of the things I was thinking, especially when you have adults that have those kind of health issues, because I also used to do guardianship before I went to law school. And so I'm thinking like, well, somebody needs to take away their right to make their medical decisions. And so when Henderson comes out, they bring out the order that says, I have the rights to make medical decisions for this person. You need to take them, you need to take them in and provide them with mental health treatment, right? So that's another thing. I think we also need to educate our community and let them know that that is an option, right? Because you don't need the person, you don't know who's going to show up when the police show up. Like which person it should not be left to that, because then the police can leave and the situation could get extremely dangerous. So when you have a situation like that and a person that's clever that can switch in and out, then they need to lose their right to make medical decisions. And you don't have to take away all of the person's right. You could have a limited guardianship to make particular decisions, and that's definitely an option. Yes, we do need to make some changes in the law, particularly when we're dealing with folks that can stay in the school until they're 22, and the school can't make decisions, but as adults, their caretakers, the people that are living with them, need to go into court and take away their right to make their medical decisions so they don't have to face that situation. So that's
I should have called you yesterday, Sandra. Someone give me that answer today. Say tell the parents to do this and that about the guardianship. I'm on the Broad Behavioral Health Coalition board, so I'm versed in watching presentation after presentation to be able to identify, know what it is. But I did not know the guardianship piece until earlier today,
Mhm.
somebody enlightened me on that, and I was able to tell the parents,
Yeah.
this is what you need to do in case she keeps refusing not to go.
Yeah, they need to take away their rights to make medical decisions from them, and that'll be the end of that. So yeah.
What other pressing issues do you find in District 33 that are you gonna well, I don't know, once you win in March, do you get to go into the session? Oh, no, the session is over. But moving forward, what pressing issues do you think in Senate 33, or have you heard from your constituents on what they would like for you to do up in Tallahassee?
All right, before you answer that question, I had another, but you don't get to finish out the term
Oh yeah,
because
so
he
I
just
heard her
won,
say.
so you
So
don't
what
get to finish out the 4-year term. Is that the way they have it set up? Because you shouldn't have to run in August because he just won, and aren't those 4-year terms?
So remember we talked earlier about Senate Bill 90 and the things that the governor typed on in the voter suppression.
Mhm.
So that allows him to set a race, and he did, so that the House and Senate seat will be vacant this legislative session. You win on the 8th, the session ends on the 11th. That was all strategic and all by design. So I probably won't even get seated this legislative session. Then I have to run again because it was a special election in August. Now let's follow this.
I wonder why, because his seat
Hold
was
on a second.
until
Hold on.
24.
Okay. I have to run again, right? But the people getting on the county commission getting appointed for 3 years. You see the hypocrisy?
Yeah, because well, Dale's seat ends in 3 years, but Barbara's seat is ending now. So that person don't have to run in August. He gets to just change
Yeah,
that
but
rule.
she's saying for her point, for her to get there, she doesn't get that. She doesn't get that.
But she just said that both of the commission seats were 3 years, but one of them really should have been because Dale just won. So his seat ends in 24, but Barbara's seat is supposed to end in 22. So
Right.
That's the person that's benefiting, is getting an additional benefit that they should not be.
No, that's not what she's saying. What she's saying is the guy who got appointed, which was, by the way, Jared Markowitz and Tori Outson are the two people that were appointed. So Tori will stay out that 4-year term, while Markowitz is the one for Barbara's seat. She's saying hers, even though because it's a special election, he basically has now pushed her. She can't even do out.
No, I understand that. No, but what I hear her saying is that Jared does not have to run in August. He gets to keep the job until 24. That's what I hear. That's what I hear her saying, and that wasn't my understanding.
Oh, is it?
But there is a interpretation happening now. The supervisor of elections office believes that everybody has to run again in August because of the way that the House bill was changed. Like I'm in a special election, the people in District 20 that just ran, so they're going to have to run again in August too.
Yeah, they already had to win because that seat was up in August anyway.
So that's the same kind of scenario that I'm in. Senator Thurston was in this seat, and because it's open, it's a special election, you have to run again in August. There are a lot of details and nuances through this, and some of it will be, you're an attorney, some of it's going to have to be flushed out in court. Somebody may interpret it this way, somebody may interpret it that way. You go to court and then they'll tell you, how you need to move forward.
Right. And we talked about that. They be trying to mess black people up and they end up messing their own self up. You know what I mean? Like they pass these laws and they gonna mess their own self up. So okay.
This is why people need to be politically involved, okay? Because you need to understand the amount of foolery that's going on, where you have someone who has been effectively locked out. He has locked out District 33, District 94, and District 88 from having any representation up in Tallahassee. Those 3 districts have no representation. The session starts in January and it runs through, no representation. There's no voice for District 33, there's no voice for District 94, and there's no voice for District 88, right? And that's because he made it irrevocable in terms of resign to run. It wasn't like that before. Just want people to know it wasn't like that before. Okay, so that's that. But tell us, Dr. Osgood, what is some of the pressing issues in the Senate, in the District 33?
So as I said, this district is 80% of my school board district, and I'm also in the community. And I'll just give a disclaimer. I was raised by grandparents, so I'm probably overly sensitive when it comes to elderly people. So running an elderly program, about 5 years ago, I started something called Senior Connections, where we deal with the elderly every day. Um, the Community Foundation says in 2030 that we'll have an additional 200,000 plus people that will be 65 and over, including yours truly.
Don't
And
look it.
there is no system in place to help people who are aging gracefully and living longer. It's very difficult for them to navigate with the Medicaid, the Medicare, and it's across the state of Florida. I believe that just like we have the Children's Service Council that focus on kids, there needs to be some coordinated effort and system of care for people that are elderly. I'm dealing with the 87-year-old granddad who's actually in the hospital right now. Been running back and forth on the phone, calling people 4 or 5 times. It's no way he can navigate the system on his own. So I think that dealing with the elderly population, that we're going to have to take a statewide approach because people are living longer. A lot of them are very mobile, they're very engaged, and some of them even still working, which creates this other problem that I don't think we're discussing enough. Is now you have brilliant young people graduating college, finishing trade schools, but because the older people are staying in the jobs, there are no jobs. So we have to think about entrepreneurship in a different way. When I was in school, I got my undergraduate in administrative studies, business, depending on what college you was at. And you were always taught that it takes about 5 years for your business to get sustained. I think we need to start talking about pilot programs that we can help small businesses, young people with entrepreneur spirits, get those businesses sustained in 2 years and have access to capital that they can really grow the business. And these things are going to take an approach that I believe in as a leader, and that's the adaptive leadership model, where you get people together, experts together, and you discuss these types of things, and you collectively create programs or something to address them. I don't believe that one person, although, Black women have proven that we can be really smart. We have some really smart women in general, but when you use collective expertise, like the three of us sitting down talking about something, I may come to the table with a perspective. We may all have a different perspective, but as we discuss it, it allows us to receive information from each other and use it in our thought process as we're making final decisions. And I think that some of these issues that we have across the state, we're going to have to start having community forums. I'm a big person on community forums and conversations. I do listening parties. I've taken notes, listen at people, because that's how you really know what people need and what's going on. Also, to help schools bring back technical programs. The programs that we have at Arthur Ashe are always filled. Many of our students do dual enrollment, but I have 3 kids, and 2 of them are college kids, and one of them, if he's not playing basketball, he's not with it. So he went to a technical college. And I think that that is a valuable option for a lot of our kids, that they can get trained in electrician, plumbing, things that there's a great need for right now. We have a big marine industry here, and they don't have anybody to take those jobs. Aviation, I've heard Barrington Irvin speak several times about how he was on a football scholarship, and somebody came in and said, you could be a pilot and make $180,000. And he thought, and I don't have to get hit. Let me see what that's about. And he went that route through a technical school to do that. So there are jobs, even, fixing the plane and doing other things that are really good career opportunities for our children. But a lot of times they're not exposed to it. We don't have programs in place to get them access to the training. So those are some of the things. And then the other things, as I'm engaging people now, I'm taking notes. If I'm doing robocalls and knocking doors, and I'm making lists. And I think as you listen at people, I'm not going to go into the Senate knowing everything that the community needs. As I go in and I'm listening at people and taking notes, you begin to see things that are common things across the area that you represent.
That's good stuff. So I'm going to round it out, and we're going to let you tell people where they can reach you, how they can donate to your campaign. But the last thing I want to talk about, it might be a little dicey, but I think you can handle it. Any feedback that was, and I don't want to say negative. I just want to say that, what have the constituents said about their former representative, Mr. Thurston, about some things that they may not like and some things that you've taken into account and you may have or may not have, explained to them that's not going to be your way of doing business.
So I love you guys. I have a moral compass that I live by. And I tried, the first time I ran, my opponents sent out a very dirty piece of mail about me. I didn't respond to it at all. As an elected official, there's always a lot of chatter. Everybody have their perspective. It comes along with the work. You don't get to be a human or a person. Today, someone was calling me, and when I called them back, they were very upset because they felt that I was ignoring them. And I said I was, because I was trying to help this dad with this daughter that thinks she's the queen of some place. It was my priority at that time. I don't spend a lot of my time sharing things about other people, just in general, other elected officials. I do listen, I take notes, and I'm able to explain, my weaknesses. Like one of my weaknesses on the school board has been I've not spent enough time with adults because I spend so much time with children. It's probably because I'm a millennial in the wrong generation. But as a District 5 school board member, my presence with kids have been able to help motivate and encourage them. So some adults are right that I've been more focused on kids. I'm going to own it when it's right. So as I'm interacting with people, I'm making my list of what they said they liked and didn't like. Now, also, as I'm making that list, I know right away some of those people are not going to like me because I have a tendency to spend my time in the community, at nursing homes, under the tree with homeless people. Those are the people that we have to care about too in the community. And sometimes people feel a certain way that they should get more time. So I'm not going to at all get into what people are saying they didn't like about Mr. Thurston. And I really apologize. I wouldn't, come on a forum and do that about any one of you either. Now,
Don't apologize for that. Don't apologize. No, let me tell you.
Call you and tell
yeah,
you.
no. Don't apologize for that. And I absolutely get what you're saying, right? Like I'm gonna put my attorney hat on for a minute. I have people who like were represented by someone. They come and call me and complain and talk about all the stuff that they don't like that the lawyer did. I'm like, well, you probably ain't gonna like me either because I'm gonna do some of that same stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get it, right? Because a lot of times when people are complaining, they don't have all the information that you have, right? They're like, he ain't never do this and he ain't never do that. And it's like, do you have no idea what it would take for him to actually do the things that you want to have him done the way you want to have it, the way they want to see it happen, right? Like they want these results and they want it a particular way and they don't understand how you get to that point, right? So yeah, I totally understand like why you want to get into that because again, the public, they don't, they have these expectations, not even knowing how it's supposed to get done. They just figure because they gave you the job, you're supposed to just make it happen like you got a wand or something. So yeah, we definitely understand.
And this is one thing I've learned on the school board. People will come and ask me for a job. As a school board member, I have no way of giving somebody a job. The only people I'm responsible for hiring and firing is the superintendent and the board attorney. If I could, I would give them, try to help people get jobs. But as a school board member, I have no way of doing that. And sometimes people, don't understand the process and how it works. When I know that I'm going to the Senate and I'm going at a very unique time. There was one African-American woman in the Senate, Audrey Gibson, and she's terming out. Okay, it's a time when my political party is not in power. But I feel that I could be a strong voice and build relationships for my community. I'm not willing to give up. A lot of what happened on the state, when I had to go through months of fighting for mayor, and then turn around and found out that there was $2.3 billion of American Rescue dollars that our governor had not even asked for school districts. in a time where we're struggling to give raises and stuff. It's just unacceptable. I won't be quiet about those things. I have all y'all. I be saying I need to be on that show. We need to get this out. We need to talk because I believe strongly in engaging the community, giving, empowering the community with information. I can't do it all as an elected official. This is about us. But with your support and your advocacy, we can get it done together. When I told you about the things that happened in District 5, people was resisting at first, but everybody came on board. It's no one person that make these changes. You need other votes, you need advocates, you need other ideas, you need community meetings, and together as a community, we move the district forward. After we get through this season of voting in November, whether I'm on the Senate or not, I think it's very important that we begin to rebuild our community structures together, where we start talking about our community should be more informed about the redistricting process and why it's important to fill out the census, how the money goes with redistricting, what happens on the school board. There's 4 or 5 pots of money, how that money works. We have to, those of us that are in this space, we have to continue to educate. That's why I love your guys' show, because you do a very good job with that. But we're under attack right now as people of color. And that's what I'm focused on. The voter suppression, people died so that we could vote, and it's slowly being pulled away. They tried to do House Bill 1 to say that we come march and protest. Then we had the insurrection, and it was a totally different response. Where people
we had people shutting down the highway in Miami, and it was a different response. Yes, the bill passed, and they shut down the 836, and I'm like, well, they gonna get arrested?
And these are the kinds of things that we can't sleep on.
Yeah,
it's a new modern day lynching in another way. Public policy is being weaponized to hurt many Black and brown people. And we have to continue to try to be at the table and move forward to make a difference.
And the part that you're saying about getting the community engaged, that is so important, right? For a couple of reasons. So for one thing, we get to talk to some elected officials, and they always say, well, I didn't hear that. The people ain't tell me that. Like, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that was a concern. And sometimes, people will speak amongst each other, or the people that have the information, they don't let the public know. So we do need to call them, so they're like, well, because I called you, I sent you an email, so that excuse that they don't hear from the people, they can't use that anymore. That's one that they say all the time. So we do need to get the community engaged and have people go call, let them know how they're feeling. That I saw you at one of the protests when they were protesting the morgue, the forensic lab, the morgue, whatever. And that elected official was like, well, I didn't know the people ain't want it. Okay, but then they all showed up to the county commission meeting, and then all the other commissioners, they also said that they didn't know that the people didn't want it. But when the people showed up and stayed there all day long and says, listen, we don't want this, at least they're like, okay, well, we're going to look into an alternative site and everything like that. So your idea of bringing a community together and letting elected officials know that this is what the people want, that's absolutely important, and that's what needs to happen, right? Because the people showed up and let the other folks know that this is something that they don't support. So community engagement is definitely the way to go.
It's important, Sandra, and I learned it from doing HIV work. I've been doing HIV work for a long time, and it was a huge disparity in the way that people in our community had access to medicine, how they were being treated. My biological dad died alone in a place in Orlando from HIV. Never disclosed it to anyone. So I've committed my life to making sure that when people have situations, they're not alone, that it's some help for them, that they're loved and they're cared about. That's what I believe faith is: compassion, loving, and caring about people that are in need. And there were resources across the county, but our people didn't have access to them. Then we got a clinic on 15th Avenue for our people. We began to break down the stigma to work so that our people can have housing and those kind of things. I'm in recovery. Tomorrow, baby, I will have 32 years drug and alcohol free. Nobody wanted to hear us. Recovery, substance abuse wasn't being treated like a disease. People say all kind of horrible things. When you are female, people think you're on drugs, you're doing this, you're doing that. They don't know what you was doing, what you was not doing. And the most important thing is that you can recover.
Mm-hmm.
How did I recover? With the love and support of my family, the love and support of this community, and having access to the various programs that were in the community. And I was really poor. I was working at McDonald's making $3.35 an hour. So I didn't have the money, but the community had the programs, and I got access to those programs, and they changed my lives, which in turn impacted the outcome of my children, that they're all three college graduates. So I'm one of those persons that believe more in my community per se than in myself or important people. I think the important people are the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know I've seen this community go through so many trials. I remember when Sistrunk used to be a valuable business district of Black people. And I remember in the late 70s when they wouldn't let a Black person on the Dania Beach, and Sistrunk was rioted and burned down.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up thinking that we burned down Sistrunk. But the more I read and the more I understood like what happened at Black Wall Street and other things, now I'm suspicious
Mm-hmm.
about who really burned down Sistrunk. But it's never been built back to the capacity that it was. So as a community, I believe that we have who we need and what we need to take hold of our own destiny and demand what the Constitution already says is ours. We shouldn't have to keep going through this, but we got to come together. We got to get over this parochial self-interest, because there is no superhero. It's us working together. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we're going to make the change that we need. And we know that in this season, it's going to be women that's going to be leading that change.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes,
And,
yes,
and,
yes.
if God has his way, it'll be Black women doing it all, as usual. So Dr. God Osgood, tell us where we can donate to your campaign, where people can volunteer for you. This would appear, because of the governor, this is an ongoing campaign until November. So you need all the work, all the volunteers you can get, all the donations you can get. So tell us where you can be reached so we can just broadcast this and make sure everybody understands where.
Certainly, it's Osgood, the number 4, Senate.com. And on there, you can donate, you can sign up to volunteer. This vote is actually in 41 days for January 11th. And let me just throw this in the mix as we close. So, as an African American candidate running for office, we're always at a disadvantage because we don't have the 100 volunteers that's going to go volunteer. People in our community need jobs. You have to pay them to work at the poll. It's almost exploitation not to. You have to pay them to give their time for these different services. So whenever I'm running, I try to be very intentional about creating as many jobs as I can with my campaign based on being able to raise the money. So I had a campaign goal of $80,000 initially. At first it was 200,000 when I thought I was running in November, but for this window of period, I set it for 80,000. So I'm at about $56,000 now. And when you look at my campaign contributions, you may see $5, $10, because I believe in my community. The first time I ran, I had 60 people give me $1 from knocking doors in my neighborhood. If people live on a fixed income, gonna give me that dollar, they probably gonna give me their vote. So no amount is too small to help. It is very expensive to get signs, to get your name out there and those types of things. But I'm gonna do the work, and I'm gonna continue to be a champion for my community. I love my community, and I also believe in my community. And I will never let anybody back me down when it comes to fighting for this community. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I have a little attitude, but I'm going to work hard for the community. And I'm not going to hold anything against anybody. So when people say mean and nasty things about me, they come for me. As long as they don't put their hands on me, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to go back at them. We're under attack right now. We have so many bigger issues and problems. Our kids are in a crisis right now. I don't have time for nonsense and foolishness. I'm about saving lives and bettering my community. And ultimately, I'm the role model for all the young girls and young boys that's coming behind me. So I'm not going to be anywhere cutting up. I'm not going to be anywhere yelling, cursing, calling people names, saying all kind of disparaging things. I have this moral compass that I have to give account to. I'm just not with any of that. No, nobody don't put their hands on me. We good.
Good. And when you were saying how much money I was like, that last election was expensive. So I hope, we can go back to some regular prices elections. That last one, boy, that thing went into some numbers that we're like, how much this costs now?
Make the sister nervous, honey.
I have those means. I invested my money in 3 kids' college education, but hey, it's a congressional race.
Yeah,
it's a congressional race. I'm going to work hard. Whatever resources I have, I'm going to maximize them. But I trust the voters. I've been faithful to this community. And the people here know that I love them. They may not always agree with me, but they know I'm going to work for them and I'm going to fight for them. When the governor was talking about taking our salaries, that's $48,000. It's going to impact anybody's income. But I wasn't willing to put the people's lives at risk. People's lives are invaluable. So if you take my salary, you say I'm breaking the law, you come take me to jail. At the end of the day, I can sleep at night because I knew that I protected the people, the little babies, the men and women in this county from COVID. And I believe as a result of those decisions that the school board made, the other 7 brave women that stood with me is how we got the positivity rates down in this county. Because
absolutely. Because there's some states that had to close down because like everybody kept getting COVID. The teachers are like, we ain't going back to work because everybody getting COVID. So and that's like about 4 or 5 states in the United States that they shut down. They had to shut down like some of their school districts because they couldn't get the COVID situation under control because they all tried to just go back and act like it wasn't real.
Sometimes you just have to stand for what's right. And you may be standing all alone and people don't understand it, but I'm not willing to sacrifice this community.
And it's awesome that y'all did that because even like the kids can go to school without their mask on now, right? And I was at my daughter's school today, and most of the children still are wearing their masks. They got into the habit. They're still wearing them. You'll see a few who don't, but for the majority of them, they continue to wear their mask on. So they got used to it and it worked, and it kept them safe. We did get a few calls that somebody at the school got COVID, but not like it would have been had they went back in that building with no mask on 100%. So we thank you for doing that. We absolutely
and that just is a testament to who you are, that you are someone who will always vote her conscience, not vote party lines or vote to kind of get something. You will always put the people first. And that's what we really want. We want a servant, a true servant, not someone who said, I'm going to be a servant. And when they get there, something totally different. Not someone who give people all this stuff to hold while you're campaigning. And then when you get there, it's something totally different. You've always been transparent. We appreciate that. We appreciate your candor. We appreciate the fact that you was like, no, girl, I ain't going to be talking about nobody. We're going to move on. We appreciate that. Love all of that. And we like it. I mean, we want to be able to give candidates platform for them to be their authentic selves and be true and honest about who they are and what they're here to represent. And so this is what you've done. We appreciate it. I put your website up here. Please go get $5, $1. She said it doesn't matter how much. Okay?
And if you live in those cities, she wants that vote.
Okay, listen, and this website also, you can learn more about Dr. Osgood on her website. I'm pretty sure if you were to send her email, she'll respond.
I would answer it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you find her phone number somewhere, she'll return your phone call. So, this is who we have running for District 33. Unfortunately, because of what's going on with the governor, that's why it's very, very important you all pay attention to who your representatives are. Make sure you send them emails, you reach out to their office, you call them, because here we are, we have 3 districts in Florida. So the session starts in January, the legislative session in Florida, and they have no representation. And this is a governor that claims that he is for the people of Florida. If you're for the people of Florida, you make sure every city, every county, every district has representation, right? He's making clear to you who he's for. And the fact that these 3 districts do not have representation, and majority of those districts are highly populated by Black and brown people, should tell you something. And that's all I got to say about that.
Tell you something. All right, thank you. And so I know you're gonna have an opportunity to sponsor some bills, co-host, co-sponsor bills, put some bills forward, even if you only get 3 days to do it. When you're there, hopefully they'll call some special sessions in between March and August.
Yes.
And then you'll have an opportunity to go ahead, because they called a special one like a couple of weeks ago. I think they were there
for some foolery, for foolery. I'm just gonna put it out there. It was
dealing with some stuff,
trash.
So but then you'll still be available, for the people of District 33 to assist them in any way that you can. And we did meet a lot of the elected officials like last session, and some of them, they tell us about successes that they're having that's not necessarily on the floor, right? That individuals will reach out to them because they have a network of people. Like one of the state reps was able to help a young lady get into college, right? Because she was able to, she met the young lady at the restaurant, spoke to her, and she was like, yeah, I'm working because I was trying to go to school and I can't go to school because I got to work. She, met some people in Tallahassee, made some calls, made some connections, and that young woman started school, so there are a lot of other ways you'll be able to help, the people of District 33, even if it's not necessarily putting bills forward.
And the small battles are the big wins, right? Mm-hmm. Any person that you can help get them through, just like Dr. Osgood getting through with those parents who have children who need help and need services, all of those small battles are big wins. And so we want people to know that these are the type of people you want in office, because they're working with the small battles and they make them to big wins. And so can you imagine what they're going to do with the big battles and how big of a win that can be? So that's where we're at. And we all about Black women.
You can't, my son said, Mama, you just taking all this stuff. That's how I'm wired.
Mm-hmm.
To help people. And a lot of it is from my lived experience. I know what it's like to sleep in a car with 3 babies and try to go to the movies and make them think that they're not homeless. So my life experience shape a lot of what I do, and it keep me feeling the heart of people and their hurts and pains. And I don't ever want to lose that. I want to always have that be my compass for public service. And at some point I had to get off the sideline and try to get in and be a part of the solution. So when I'm at a table, my lived experience, the people that I love, that I interact with, I can truly be their voices because I know their challenges, their struggles. I'm going to challenge them, but I'm going to do the best I can to make their lives better. Why? Because that's what somebody did for me. So this is not about a position for me. I was famous since I was 2 years old. My grandma and granddaddy brought me home from the hospital, and I was the apple of their eye all my life. I serve this community because I believe it's what I'm called to do, and because I care about the people. I'm taking a $20-something thousand pay cut going to the Senate. I know the process at the school board. I could just stay there and be comfortable. But I know that I need to level up for my community so that we can get some things done on the state level.
And I know you won't. You ain't scared to bring no bus loads if
you sure
that's what they need. She gonna be like, try me if you want to.
We need a presence. That's what we need. People need to be able to look in our eyes and in our faces. I read this other book, and it talks about this man that was walking through this area, and he saw this multitude. And he was moved with compassion. He was moved with compassion because he was in proximity to feel their pain, to look in their eyes, to see them. So when they just looking at me, they don't understand how big of the hurt, how big of the pain is.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at my phone now all night on social media for shooting up schools, for threats with the kids and stuff, I can't sleep. It's a burden for me. Because I know that my kids are so bright. They have such a future, and something is going on right now that they're doing all this social media pressure that they're under right now to be something, to fit in. And I'm saying, how do we solve this? How do we fix it? We start first by us modeling that behavior and working together and becoming a beloved community. And I know we don't like those nice words like that because we want to be mean and tough. But that stuff breaks our spirit. It's not good for our kids. We have to forgive and move forward together to think about. I don't want my 7-year-old grandbaby to have to go to DC to march for her voting rights. So while I got breath in my body, I'm going to do everything I can to change that so that she don't have to do that. I want her to be able to be comfortable playing with her friends, whether they're white, Hispanic, or whatever. I don't want her to have to feel different or be mistreated because of the color of her skin. This is serious business. This ain't no job for people that want to play games and gossip and walk around and think they some kind of elite individuals. This is about public service and caring about people. And as you move forward, bringing the people with you so we are a true collective community. That's what I'm about. That's what y'all going to get from me. And we ain't going to always agree on issues, but I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to listen and hear what you got to say. And I'm going to take it and process it. But it's a bigger picture, y'all, and we can't miss it. This voter suppression, we're getting killed right now with all these bills.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We run around talking about somebody hair, somebody passed. That can't do nothing to change no legislation.
Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing at all. Nothing
well, Stacey Abrams says she's running for governor of Georgia again, so that's gonna be interesting.
Listen, we're gonna pray for her in Jesus' name. Okay, we claiming it that she.
Yes, that she gonna take that.
And hopefully, Dr. Osgood, you do maybe 2 terms in the Senate. You're gonna try to grab that governorship. We need somebody that's gonna make this.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm this close to. I got 1 foot in Georgia and 1 foot in Florida, honey. That's where I'm at. Okay, because I'm telling you, if Stacey wins, I'm out. I can't do it here no more.
Not me. Maybe one of y'all.
No. They can't handle me up in Tallahassee.
I think I curse a lot, so no. Like,
all right, it was awesome talking to you, Dr. Osgood. Thank you so much. And if you want to support and donate to her campaign, is www.osgood4senate.com. That's with the number 4. Please go ahead and donate, sign up for volunteering. I know this is a little short window, but you know what? We're in here for the long haul. And we're going to make sure that we support our sister on her way up. And, you have any questions and concerns, go to that website, reach out to her. And we appreciate you coming on.
So when's your next canvassing? So maybe some people could come and go canvass with you. Are you canvassing or are you doing something a little different?
So I'm making sure you can only see my top up. As soon as I'm off this Zoom, I'm out. I'm changing my shirt and I'm knocking doors.
Okay, you're going to canvas now. Yeah, so she needs you guys to go canvas with her. She needs y'all to go canvas with her.
Saturday and Sunday, but I'm trying to walk at least 2 hours a day myself, along with phone banking, and I have people in other areas. So Saturday, there's a time set for Saturday. If anybody interested, they can reach out. I can get them what they need. But I don't take this as anybody being entitled to it. Anybody have a right to run. You have to work and earn the vote of the people.
Absolutely.
I have done that, and I will continue to do that.
That's right.
All right. So she walking now, y'all. There's Thursday, there's Friday, there's Saturday, there's Sunday. She just need an hour or 2. She got all the stuff that you're gonna hang on them doors. And so y'all, Osgood for Senate. You see, she ready. Okay. So y'all need to call her. She got a whole lot of cities that she got to walk through and knock on the doors and let these people know.
Let them people, that's right. Osgood for Senate. So you all reach out Saturday, Sunday. I'm gonna see if I can carve out some time so I can.
Sweat equity is just as good as money. That sweat equity is important. That sweat equity is just as good as money.
That's right. So spread the word. It was a complete pleasure to have you on. We can't wait and look forward to your your win. I mean, we're hoping for all good things. And we can't wait to see what you got up next. We can't wait to see the bills. We can't wait to do all that, honey.
Thank you for having me. It is so humbling to be in the presence of such amazing and intelligent women, African-American women, who is really serious about this political.
We want our people to learn.
Well, Tomiko said they may be able to make a few calls. So you need to go on the website. We're holding you to it.
I got it set up. All I need to do is send you a link. You can start calling right from your phone.
Oh, you hear that? You heard that, Tomiko?
She's gonna send you a link.
Get on that website, send her your info, sis.
I'm going to check right now.
She's going to check right now, Tomiko. Go on and and please use your voice that you always be using when you be talking to me, Tamiko, and get these people to be. She said yes.
Tamiko gonna read the room. Like if Tamiko gotta sound a little country, Tamiko gonna sound a little country. If Tamiko gotta get a little proper, Tamiko gonna get a little proper. Right? We know how to
Tamika can do it all.
All right, Tamiko gonna read the room and what
yes, she will.
They need to. Okay.
So we will.
We gonna have to do and use the voice we need to use in
there
that
moment. There you go. Well, all right, Miss Dr. Osgood, thank you. So she said, "Yep." Tamiko says, "Yep."
That's right. We know how to code switch.
Sign up, sis. All right. Well, we're gonna let you go. We do a recap afterwards. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. www.osgoodforsenate.com. Please head over, and we appreciate.
No pressure, Tamiko.
Ain't no pressure.
We about business around here.
Get on the call.
No pressure. We about business.
Thank you, Dr. Osgood. Have a great evening. All right.
All right, y'all.
So let's do a recap. Ooh, you came with the heat, sister. You came with the heat. I'm hot. Woo. I'm hot.
Now some schoolboy shenanigans.
It is.
I'm about making that lady permanent. Get out of here.
Man, please. Out here, you can't effectively take it, and it's not really about her. It's just about the process. If the process was you can't get the job,
they were not the top two. They were not the best candidates for the overall job. They were not. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
I'm just saying, Chad. I'm just saying. So we need to let people know that they have appointed for the commission seat. Like we mentioned, Jared Moskowitz is for District 8. He's taken over Barbara Sharif's, and Tori Alston, District 9.
So what we learned about the District 8, but when the people are appointed, apparently they don't got to live in the district where they're appointed. They can live wherever they want to live.
Apparently so. So guess what? So Jared, lives in Parkland, people. So now you got two people from Parkland on the Broward Commission seat. Okay. In District 8, there's about over 300,000 people who are living in poverty or almost to it. Okay. And you have somebody who's been appointed who lives in a $1.5 million house.
I have no comment.
Y'all do the math. I don't know if y'all want to do, not the math, but y'all do what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Because that representation is all I want to know. And you ain't gotta, I don't know if the price of the house matter, but this is the house. What do you know about that community for real though? You know what I mean? So hopefully he'll have some town halls. How about that? Maybe Jared gonna have some town halls and let the people tell him.
To his credit, let me just give him a little credit. The little credit he can get is that he was the what was he again?
The FEMA person.
Yeah, was it the FEMA person, the emergency preparedness person?
He was in charge of FEMA for a minute too. Yeah,
in Florida, for the state of Florida, and he was also part of the emergency preparedness for when the pandemic happened. So he was in charge of all of that, trying to organize stuff or whatever. So he was doing that. Okay. And so now he's been appointed to the commission seat. It is what it is.
All right.
We'll see. Great interview with Dr. Osgood. We will have Miss Terry Eden Williams, or is it Miss Terry Williams Eden? She will be on next week, and she's also running for Senate 33. And so a couple of good news. If you can call it good news. So the defendants in the Aubrey murder case were all found guilty.
Yep.
And they automatically get life in prison, based on Georgia law. But they also have federal charges that they got to go through too. There's trials coming from federal charges as well. Unfortunately, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of all charges. Yeah, that's that caucasity. That's what that is. That's that caucasity. That's your little snippet for Caucasity Corner. And as we mentioned, January 11th is when the session starts. The legislative session starts. Just want to let you know, HB 11 is going to be HB 11 is a House bill that is being presented by Representative Alex Rizzo from a Republican from Hialeah in Miami. this bill, if passed, and let me tell you how it's close to being passed, because we do not have the majority. When I say we, Democrats do not have the majority in the legislature right now, in the Senate or the House. Okay, so if this bill is passed, it will become a second-degree misdemeanor with a second-degree misdemeanor charge, a $500 fine or a $500 fine, and or 60 days in jail if you're videotaping a police officer and they claim that you are hindering them from doing their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is.
That's real
So,
subjective.
all the videotapes we've been taking with, police brutality and police thing or whatever, all of that stuff or whatever. So they're going to try to make it very difficult here in the state of Florida for you to do that. I'm just saying.
Oh, Mr. Neptune said he don't think Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty.
Okay. We're going to have to disagree on that, Mr. Neptune. Agree to disagree. But
I mean, if he was found not guilty and the judge wasn't interfering in the case as much as he did, I might have felt better. But the judge was interfering just a little too much for the eye. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's a problem with that verdict. The judge was interfering too much.
That's all you feel comfortable. So if the judge wasn't interfering, you'd be okay with the verdict of him not being guilty?
At least, I mean, it would have been like more fair. You know what I'm saying? Like what happened in that room was not fair. I don't know, fairness might, that what happened in that room was.
Well, you said, well, you're an attorney, so justice is supposed to be blind, right?
Listen, that judge, yeah, it was absolutely problematic what was happening in that courtroom. And that is not a standard that any judge wants to. You don't want that type of standard in a courtroom. That's we don't want it to be like that moving forward. That judge needs to be gone, retire. They need to revisit a lot of the cases that he's had in his courtroom before. That's not the way a judge should behave. So, yeah,
I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with you, Mr. Neptune.
But I think we tend to disagree with Mr. Neptune more than we agree with him, though. But we love the fact that he shows up, though.
We've agreed with him a couple of times.
Yes, we've agreed with him a couple of times, but and I ain't mad that he, what's up with the popular opinion? You don't need to have that. I'm here for it.
I'm just saying, I don't agree.
He was attached. I only don't think a brother would have get that verdict, but I think it was the right verdict. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
you do make a point, Mr. Neptune. You do, but still gonna disagree with you, brother.
All right. So Osgood came. She showed up. She talked about some good stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna see what happened. Some of the issues that she's. I'm all for the issues that she raised. And the most important point was that she's gonna keep the community engaged. That the people involved. She's gonna bring them to Tallahassee. So when these people are running their mouth, they'll see who it is that they're impacting with the things that they're saying. So I think I'm here to support that strategy.
Me too, and in all its glory, glory.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up, and we'll see you all here back next week with the other District 33 candidate. Mm-hmm. We do have a third person running. I've reached out to him, haven't heard, but I'm gonna try to reach out to him to another forum to see if we can get them to come on. And his name is, I think, Joseph Egliston.
No, Joseph Egliston is running for House District 94.
I'm sorry, that's right. He is running for District 94. This other gentleman is, I think, a Republican, and I forgot his name. His name escapes me, but I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna try to get him on the show.
Yeah, and we're also talking to the House District 94 candidates, and hopefully they'll come. If not a few days next week, the following week we'll be able to get them on.
We'll try to get them in before Christmas.
Because I know they're some of them.
Oh, yes, thank you, Tamiko. Joseph Carter. That's right. Joseph Carter is the one running in the District 33 Senate race, along with Dr. Osgood and Miss Eden. Who will we be talking to next week? So we're going to reach out to Mr. Carter again, see if we can get him to come on the show. We want to see everybody's side. We want to hear everybody's side. And hopefully we will get District 94 in before Christmas. I think there's about three or four people running in that race. Too young and too older, mid. I don't know. I don't want to be the. We're not
I'm not that old. I think I'm older than all of them.
Okay, well, I guess. So we'll try to get those people on before Christmas. So everybody can have an opportunity to talk to them. Apparently, District 94 has changed based on the
99. Yeah, once it's confirmed, they haven't confirmed the map yet. It may become District 99.
Yes.
Okay, and so what you got final words? Because I got a final word.
Oh, you go with your final word. I ain't got none.
Oh, so Dale Holness sued Sheila Shepard McCormick because he wants he thinks that she didn't really won. She's illegitimate, and so he's filed a federal lawsuit to try to get them to count those military votes. And he thinks if they're counted, he's gonna win. And so yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't know where that's going, but I just thought I would let y'all know.
Well, what was the three things he said? That she bribed the voters with her $1,000 a month.
I had to turn my phone off because it kept running. Hold on a second. Okay. It was he believed that $1,000 a month that she said she was gonna do is tantamount to a bribe. And so that makes her like ineligible to run. Then he also said that they should have allowed those 13 votes. It was like 18 votes or something that came in from the military that were at issue. He believed that those should be counted, and if they're counted, then he would win. And there was a third issue that I gotta see what the third one was. Let me see what the third one was.
There was the three votes he didn't get and didn't matter anyway because they weren't his, but that was from before. He said that she's ineligible because she didn't file her paperwork.
That's the third thing. Yeah, she didn't file her disclosures in time.
He also said that she bribed the people and then she them votes that the thing or whatever.
It was 18 votes. It's the $1,000 was considered a bribe, and yeah, he thinks she is ineligible to hold office. And then she didn't file her financial disclosures, but she's explained that. She said because she didn't file them in 18 or 20, and they basically told her that she said that they told her since she didn't win, she didn't have to file them. And he's complaining about the fact that she hadn't filed them, but he filed his late too. So he filed his late. Hers haven't been filed yet, but he filed his late. So that might not be.
Well, good luck, Mr. Holness, Commissioner Holness, on your lawsuit. And in other news, Miss Sheila will be in on your ballot in January. So make sure you come out and you vote in January because there is a Republican on there, a convict. Yeah, he's a convict. You heard me right. I don't know if he filed his paperwork.
Well, he was supposed to. So he didn't. Well, so even though he's a convicted felon, he was supposed to get his rights restored in order for him to be on the ballot, meaning like he has the right to vote again. And so there was some issue about that paperwork. So
but there was issue that if he filed for it or not.
Matt Termat is on there. The Libertarian is on there. Remember we interviewed him.
Oh, right.
I'm so sorry, Philippe. Yeah, you're right. Right.
That's right. Oh,
yeah, Metromat is on there.
And we did speak to him. If you want to go back to
him, yes, for a long time. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, he is on the ballot.
He took all the heat too.
He was good.
Yes.
He hung
all right,
on there.
Thank you so much for reminding us, Mr. Neptune. See why you have to be on the show, child. You got to
come and keep us honest.
You got to keep us honest around here. Yes. So Mr. Neptune, Mr.
Mattermat.
Mater is how you pronounce it.
It's like Materat or something like that.
Materat, yes. He'll be on the ballot too. So don't forget those who don't like the two-party system. You can go on and be rogue.
You have a third option. And there's video, so you can go on our YouTube channel and on Facebook and find him. Mike Materat.
Michael Max.
All righty, so let's wrap this up. All right, thank you, Dr. Osgood, for coming and spending
Thank you
time
so
with
much.
us. We appreciate you.
And so we'll see you great people next
Yeah,
week.
see Mike Tremat. Yeah, I had it right, Mike Tremat.
Mike Tremat. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what
Mike Tremat.
Okay. See? We got to be reminded every so often, chat. My computer moving slow. Can you go ahead and take us on out, sis?
No, I played a commercial. I can't. I don't have it on my end. All right. Good night, everybody.